Okay, so yep, so I
Yep.
give the time over to Miss Ho.
Yes, so thank you so much. And I'm so glad to be here because, you will know later, actually, well, I'm from Hong Kong. But I have been here in the UK for, so now it's like my 5th year. So, but yeah, I'll tell you more. I just can't wait. So these are my contact details. So if you want to connect with me, I'm very, very happy to. Also, I used to do some streaming online as well. I do less nowadays because the world opened up again. So I love meeting people in person. So hopefully I'll meet all of you in person someday. So maybe I'll introduce myself a little bit more because I just like kind of pop up out of nowhere, I guess. So I love open source. That's also, I will tell you why I love open source later. Also, like why I have these kind of relationship with open source. So I've been, involved in different open source projects. I have started my own years ago just to play, but also I've contributed to other projects. I have contributed to some of the libraries that like Pandas, Stage, Util. Also, I've been involved in other non-Python projects as well. So right now I'm very, very happy. Glad and happy that I work for Terminus DB, which is an open source project. Is an open source graph database, but this talk is not about it, so I won't tell you too much. But if you're interested in graph database, if you want to try something different, then talk to me. I'm happy to tell you more. Also, I organize events. So in the UK here, so before we are now like not meeting in person, that we have sprints, Python sprints that we will gather and contribute to open source together. I also help organize different conferences. I've been helping EuroPython for, I think it's like for the 3rd, 4th year now. So yeah, really lose count already. Also, I have been involved in PyData Global last year and this year. And the last logo, it may be more a different one because it's an online conference that I got to tell you a little bit more as well. So I also stream online. Like I said, I used to do it more during lockdown, but now since the world opened up again, I want to see more beautiful faces in person. So I'm trying to go to the conference to meet people in person again. So first of all, why do I give this talk? Why am I talking about my past? I think that when the organizers contacted me, I was thinking, oh, what talk I can give, because in the past I've given talks in different topics because I was a data scientist. Right now I am a developer advocate, so I can talk a lot about data science, about data, all this stuff. Also Python, I love Python. I can talk a lot about that. But why do I talk about my personal story? It could be quite scary. You're exposing yourself, like I'm telling you like more personal stuff, I would say, than just maybe, oh, how to use Python or how to do this machine learning thing, right? Because I'm thinking like, PyCon Hong Kong is special for me because I didn't know about it when I was in Hong Kong. And then I know about Python. I was involved in the community here in the UK, but I always feel that I want to connect back to where I grew up, where I'm from. And so I feel that this is very special, and I want to really talk about my journey. And I really want to not like really inspire, but like if you are also thinking, oh, what else can I do? Then hopefully you can get some idea and be encouraged to do something that is out of your comfort zone. So first of all, I started host introduced me. I was spending some time studying physics. I'm a graduate of the Hong Kong Science HKUST, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. So it's too long, the name. But HKUST, some people said it's a stress and tension. But I'm glad that like actually I spent 5 beautiful years there. I started research quite early, even when I was undergraduate. I love physics, which is quite rare, I guess, in my year at least. So I was involved in different projects. I have a lot of amazing friends there. So yeah, that's I feel old when I talk about my university years. So that was a bit of a time, and that's actually the time that I start using programming languages to do some research and stuff. So I remember we have some data that we got from the lab. So we do a lot of laboratory measurement, and then we have those measurements, and then I would try to run some computer program on it to see what interesting finding we can find, and hopefully publish some good papers, like all academics like want to publish good papers. So yeah, I was trained to be a physicist. I chose physics because I love physics. I know that some of my classmates may not. They just like, oh, well, that's my not my first choice. That's my 10th choice or something like that. But for me, physics was my first choice, and I studied, and I actually like really want to at that time I want to be an academic, like in the academia, and like have a career there. But unfortunately, this is not the case. I decided that that's not for me. Quite, when I finished my master degree, I think that, oh, actually, that's not for me. I want to explore the world a little bit more. So I decided to, okay, finish my study and then go to work like all the graduates, right? So I have worked in different companies. I've worked in different like media companies, small ones, not big ones, no big names here. So I do some, again, like I get the chance to use some of my my programming skills, very very small of them compared to maybe a computer science graduate. It's like a small programming skills to do a little bit of analysis, data analysis at work, which was quite fun. I always have a heart for like coding, programming. I was remember those time when like internet was not like this. It's like just pictures that take a long time to load. The time where for those of you who are older or maybe my age, remember the modem and stuff, right? So during that time, even at that time, I was fascinated, and I was like doing some kind of website design or something like that, and just some like very old web page thing. It's not glamorous, but I always have an interest in coding. So so I actually decided to move abroad in 2016 because, well, the reason being I can't find a job that I really like in Hong Kong because I was working in different companies. So, but is I just don't found that that's right for me. Also, I kind of feel that the work environment in Hong Kong could be stressful. I don't know whether that applies to all of you, but like at least from my experience, it's a bit stressful. So I decided to move abroad and by joining the working holiday scheme, so-called. Because at that time, I'm exposing my age now. So at that time, I was like close to 30, which is the deadline to apply for working holiday in the UK. Why UK, you ask? Like, because, well, I think some countries, they open the age to a little bit like longer, like 35 or something. But I really want to go to UK because well, I was lucky that during my university year again, I spent a summer in London before. Well, mainly like that was a program for doing some research in the lab overseas. That was a program in my university, so people get a chance to visit other universities abroad and get some experience. So so I have spent a summer in London, and I fell in love with the city. There's a lot of culture, a lot of because I love musical. I want to go see more musical. So I was like, okay, maybe working in London is not too bad at all. And I don't have a lot of friends who have done it. I know a few people that I know, that I know in universities that I have. My ex-colleagues, they have been joining these working holiday schemes. I've heard story about it, and it seems everybody was positive about it. So then I was like, okay, let's try, why not? Because like if I don't try it now, then I'll be too old and I can't do it anymore, right? So I did. I just finished my job. I took all my savings in Hong Kong at the moment. Not a lot of savings. I'm horrible at saving. So just limited amount of money. And do all these like paperwork and stuff, bought a plane ticket, like even, at that time, like I I just packed two suitcases, not really well prepared, just packed two suitcases, I go. So yeah, I arrived in London. I didn't realize at that time I actually would call it home for so long. So of course there's a lot of challenge because like I said, I wasn't in tech during that time. So the main income source when my first year in the UK was just doing part-times. I have done different things. So I think that there actually was a I'm a bit like blushing now because some reporters, that my friend's friend was a reporter in Hong Kong and tried to interview me before. You may be able to find a news article about me that I was like, giving out flyers and, doing part-time work. So that was my first year in the UK. So mainly in London. London is a beautiful city most of the time, because like now it's getting worse of, if you heard about this like fuel shortage and stuff. But yeah, but it's beautiful back then. So I was doing part-time work. Is quite rough. And then, okay, that's the first year. So the second year, I was actually thinking, well, what's next, right? Because you have tried different things and you definitely like the place, you want to stay. So at that time, I have a close friend who already also work in tech. And then they told me that, oh, actually, for your background, right, you have done some research before, you have some coding skills, why don't you try data science? So I was like, oh, okay, because data science could basically maybe give me a visa, right, to stay longer. So that was the motivation, very technical, pure, just like I want to stay, right? So and then at the time I was like trying to think about, oh, what should I do? And then I would discover first R. I think some of you may heard about R. Then and then later Python actually. So I discovered that, and then I started working as a data scientist for another few years. So yeah, like how can I learn Python and become a data scientist? Almost self-taught, right? So first of all, Python actually, like I said, the beginning was like R. I studied some online courses on Coursera. So there was a data science course that teach you a lot of kind of skills that you have to learn, like statistical knowledge, and also they use R, the first one I took. So I learned R, and so that is not too difficult for me. Luckily, I think that thanks for my background, that the mathematics thing is not alien to me, and actually I was enjoying it. And then programming again, like I kind of enjoy learning R. Actually, it was a bit struggle at the beginning because during my university year, I'm more towards like the C++ family kind of thing. So R feels a bit weird at the beginning, but actually, like, oh, it's okay. Actually, I can get the hang of it, and then I start doing something. And then later I discovered Python, because actually during my first job, the whole team was using Python. So okay, so I would just jump on the wagon of Python then. And but actually after that I fell in love with Python and forget about R. So yeah, kind of I broke up with R and get together with Python. So that was how I learned Python, one of the source. The other is that I went to a lot of Python meetups. So in London here, well, that was before the lockdown. So it's but my friend called it BC, before COVID. So in the BC times, we have a lot of meetups. Where at the beginning I was like, oh, you can learn something, you can meet people and have free pizza. Why not? So I go to meetups almost every day. So well, except Friday, maybe people don't have meetup on Friday because people want to go to the pub. So that I also covered that a little bit, because here in the UK, people love going to the pub, love going for drink. So But usually Monday to Thursday, you will find a meetup, you'll have free pizzas and you can save money as well. So at that time I was still poor, right? So it's like, oh, that's a good idea. But later I developed this, I call it a pizza phobia, that I really scared of pizza, even though later I get a chance to go to Napoli, which is the origin of pizza, where pizza was invented, right? Everybody was like, oh, you have to try the pizza there. But I was like, no, I'm so scared. I don't want to have pizza. So yeah, so that's another side story. I went to a lot of meetups. Because usually meetups, they will have people who are giving talks that you learn new tools, new technology. Also, there will be sprints that I will mention a little bit later as well, that you really have hands-on exercise to work with people. And then if you have questions, there will be more senior Pythonisters who have more knowledge or use Python longer, or even someone who just like be more familiar in that area that can teach you how to do certain things. Online resources, there's tons of free online resources, so don't overlook on those, because online courses are, a lot of them you have to pay. For example, Coursera is not free. It's good, but it's, if you really think that, oh, I'm not so sure whether I want to commit to a course, or if you just started to learn Python, then maybe try some online resources first, and then maybe before you really, I really want to do it like more systematically, I want to have a professor explaining that to me, then you can join the online courses. There's also open source sprints, which at the beginning, I joined these at a meetup in London, which is, people sit together to work. That's actually the first time I contribute to pandas. And I learned so much because I made so many mistakes. My pull request was a big, red cross on the GitHub. It's like, no, this is not good. So I asked, at that time, I almost consider him as my mentor, Mark Glacio, which also one of the pandas core maintainer. Then at that time, he teach me, actually, even writing the doc string, I was wrong because the format is wrong. So, why you have a white space at the end? You shouldn't have a white space at the end and all this stuff. So I learned a lot from him, and then it kind of encouraged me to contribute to open source, because I think I can't do it on my own. If you ask me at that, me at that time, that I am just like a baby in Python, if you tell me, oh, you can actually contribute to pandas, and then I would be too scared to do it because I know that I would mess up the things and I don't know how to solve all the problems. And then, but with someone who so generous, like that, help, so happy to teach people, then I get this opportunity. So I would say that I gain a lot from the community here. I learn a lot. I discover Python, I learn Python, and also I can start a new career almost thanks to the community here. Also, I try doing something. Sometimes the best way to learn it is to just get your hands dirty, right? So it's just like, because recently I'm more into cooking. So the best way to learn how to cook is to try cooking it yourself and taste it to see if it's good. Same with learning anything, like with Python, that try doing it, then you would know where you would make mistake, why you make that mistake, and then you can learn from your own mistake. Do a lot of, because open source is, so open to everybody. So just try to do something. You can make it open source so people can come and help you and teach you. You can also try to, go to a sprint to learn to do something, which is good. So finding the first job is really, really hard. I think especially in the UK, there's a problem with people like me, maybe because I'm not from the UK. Even my university degree is not, I didn't, it's UST, right? It's actually UST, it's Hong Kong, it's not UK. So so for me, it's like really, I am really like someone coming from abroad, right? Also, there's all these pop culture. I told you in the UK that a lot of people who will be after work, they will go to the pub. So traditionally, it's more like a boys' club thing, I would say, because like I would say, as someone who's like, I didn't drink so much when I was in Hong Kong. So so yeah, so difficult for me to join all these like, oh, boys club, to go to the pub together, to drink, to know people, to network, right? Meetup provide a way that is not that is more open to everybody who can network. If you don't go to the pub and drink with people that who may be a senior data scientist or something, so that's good. So but it's still very, very hard. I started not as a data scientist. Actually, my first job that is in the field was a data analyst in a company. I have to, at that time I was doing a part-time, not part-time, but I was like selling handbags in salvages. So I was working as a salesperson in retail. But I really want to get a job in data science or data anything like. So I sent out lots of CVs. I have a lot of tech tests that I have to do during my break. So what I would do is to have my laptop with me when I go to work, and then during my limited lunchtime, I will quickly shove all the food down my stomach and then sit at the cafeteria for the staff to work on all this technical stuff. So it was quite hard, but I think thanks for all these opportunities here that I managed to find a data analyst job that's actually opened the door for me. I always tell people that if you want to change career, finding the first job is always the hardest, but once you push it through, once you get in, it's easier. A lot of my friends have the same experience. The first job is not always the best. Even my friend who she's from France. She was a teacher, and then she wanted to be a data scientist. So she actually the first job was kind of an intern kind of position, which is quite strange because like she's like my age, you start an intern, like not when you're a first graduate, but then from there she actually become a data scientist, and then now she actually be able to find a better job back in France, and then work as a data scientist, which is great. So so yeah, it's always very hard. So if you want to change careers, like don't be put down if you think that, oh, I've sent so many CVs, no reply, or I have so many interviews but no offer. Don't be discouraged. You have to try extra hard, and then it will come eventually. And then once you get in, even though it may not be the perfect offer that you want, you can always get something from there, gain some experience, try to work there for a certain period of time, and then look for another opportunity that you really want to go for. So but the community is here to help. I have so much support. Like I said, the meetup, I've met a lot of people who I consider mentors. I have make friends. My friend I just told you the story about. I met her in meetups. So you gain friendship there as well. So the community give me knowledge. I learned Python from I really was nothing when I was like coming to the UK. I know nothing about Python, and then I learned so much that now I can be confident to maintain an open source library. I have the sense of belonging. I always feel, as someone who come from abroad, it's very important to have a sense of belonging, that that there is a place that you belong. So the community here welcome me with open arms. So I have been to meetups so many times that people start recognizing me and then invite me to join the organizing team, right? So I feel that really like I was welcome into this big family. Friendship, I told you I've made good friends. She's just one of my friends that I made through meetups. There's also other people, amazing people that I met, not just meetup in UK, but also at conferences abroad, because later when I'm more, confident, and then I start going to conferences, and I met a lot of people, and I have now, like, I can say that I have friends like, in Germany, I have friends in in Spain, I have friends in Italy, I have friends in Turkey, I have a lot of friends, and now I have friends. All of you are my friends as well, of course. And also it would give you a career boost. I think that thanks for being out there and giving talks in different conferences, because nowadays, everybody record the conference. I put it up in YouTube, in the internet. So I have recruiters that actually found me because they have seen my talk. They have seen my, they say, oh, because now I'm more like even step up because I have a website and then yeah, go back to website design. But this time is better. I use well, not Python, but I use Ruby, but that's another thing. So yeah, I have a website, so I put all these recordings there, and then my recruiter mentioned, oh, your website looks good, I have seen your talk and all this stuff. It's like, it really boosts your career a lot. So if you're thinking about, okay, how I can up my game, how I can, be more recognized of my Python skills, and that actually is a good idea to do. So also, I told you I have friends like now everywhere. And then this like online conference thing also even let me expand a little bit further. I have, now I have friends like in Australia, which is like the opposite time zone. It is closer to all of you, but like for me, it's another time zone. Again, like now I can connect with all of you who is like 8 hours ahead of me, but we are still connected, which is great. So yeah, so this Python community, because it's global and because now we realize that we don't have to fly across the globe, we can still connect via online events. Then it's great. Like now when I visit some places, I'll be, oh, maybe I should message my friend to say like, oh, maybe we can catch up, that's great. Well, COVID did make things harder. I feel like all of the friends that I made I know them already before COVID. I've met them in conferences. So now online I feel maybe I'm old. I feel a little bit difficult to make new friends online. So also, I haven't met, some of my friends who are in London, in UK for so long, because travel, even going out was a little bit tricky. And now, of course, things are better. But even still, like my friends in Germany, I haven't met them for so long because, even relatively quite close to Europe, I can fly there with, cheap flights. But you may have to do 3-4 tests before you can, and then those tests, all cost money. So traveling is a bit, tricky nowadays. You may have to quarantine, which, and also you are not recommended to travel. Of course, don't spread the virus or anything. So it makes things a little bit harder. But now, since the world is opening up again, I feel like we have more options now. We have options now to meet people in person. And also we have options to maybe connect via the internet. So it's an opportunity for everybody. Now, like you may think that, oh, maybe I think that, maybe for you, like flying to Europe, flying to America would be too long of a trip. And now, since conferences would be online, or maybe next year would be hybrid, so it would be an opportunity to join some events that is far away. So so I want to tell you about this conference I'm organizing that is, I think it could be the last conference this year. I may be wrong though, but it could be. So it's an online conference. This is the website. So the idea was that, so when I talk about that, like the idea was that, because that was actually the idea before the pandemic, that some people may not be able to travel for their personal reason. So we would just bring the conference to you rather than you fly to the conference. So we have these, idea of streaming the conference worldwide for 24 hours. So it's a marathon. We really need more people to help. So right now the call for proposal is open. So again, it's like we extend it a little bit more. So you can still submit your talk. So if you have questions about, oh, how can I submit a talk and everything, you can just message me or just give us a shout on Twitter. I've checked the Twitter. So yeah, so just let me know. Or how can I help you to maybe submit a proposal? It's an opportunity, like I said, to learn how to connect to people around the globe and boost your career. Because Pajamas Con will be recorded and be on YouTube. So so maybe someone will find you because of that. So I think, time is running short now. So the last thing I want to say is it's time to start the journey. Now the world is opening up again. So even not physically to start the journey, but it's also, you could start your journey online. I try to go out there and seek out the community to get connected with all these amazing people that I've met, that you can meet as well. So that's it for me.
Well, thank you. May I invite questions from the audience? Everyone's so shy.
You can always find me. I think I can go for the first slide. You can always find me on my social media, whatever. Yeah, I always forget to put this first slide back at the end. So you can contact me if you want to. Oh, there's a hands up. I see.
That there is a question in the chat. Yes. So that's.
Oh yeah, Pajamas Conf is the 4th of December, this year. So it's always in December. So we had it last year, I think on the 5th. So it's always in December. So.
Oh, hi, Ting.
Hi.
I'm Claire. Thank you so much for the wonderful talk, sharing in your very personal, but really useful experience to help our people can start the journey and be helped and help others as well. And something I'm interested that is like some people say, hey, that when you really want to go to some places, some foreign places, and it is they start with the passion for that place, but it is what can really keep them there is actually the passion they find with the career over there. Do you all agree with that?
The career, yes, that's definitely something that you would consider. So if I think about going overseas, of course, well, now this is a bit different because you have the option of working remotely. So actually my employer is an Irish company, but we have colleagues around the world. So now you can even like decouple it a little bit, like, whether you want to live in that place and then whether you want to work there is kind of two different things. But I think in a more kind of grand scheme of things, like, for example, the work culture in Europe and America would be different. So you could, not just like consider, whether moving there, do I like to live there? Also, the work culture would be something that you have to consider as well, because, so if you, for example, work in the UK, if, in my previous jobs, sometimes occasionally I would still go to the pub with my colleagues because just to socialize. And well, London, I think people are more diverse. So if you tell them, I'm not very keen on drinking, they're kind of accepting that, maybe you can buy something non-alcoholic in a pub or something like that. But so I think that the culture, the work culture is something that also you have to consider as well. Yeah, that's definitely right. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. That's very practical. Helpful answer.
Yep. There are two questions in the chat, and I think we have to have the closing after that.
Yeah, so maybe I quickly answer that, like, is Pajamas English only? It may, it's mainly English. Talks will be expected to be English, but if you want to, for example, give a talk in Cantonese, you can still submit, and we will see how we can work around that. So it's not a big problem. Yeah.
And then there's one more question. I think the most difficult thing you face.
The most difficult things I face, I think at the beginning is the loneliness. Like, before I meet all these people in the community, sometimes you feel that you don't have the support that you may get if you are close to home, when you're close to your family. So yeah, all my family is still living in Hong Kong at this moment. And
actually, I'm sorry, I have to finish the sentence, the most difficult thing
okay.
face when you learn Python, actually.
Oh, when I learned Python, yes. Okay. So when I learned Python, I think there was I remember there was a time that like, because you go to the online resources and stuff, they would teach you all the basic thing. So I think after I finish all this basic stuff, I want to learn more about Python and how Python actually work. There isn't a lot of resources about that. And a lot of times what I have to do is to, go to ask my friend. I do have some friends that they are C Python developers who actually maintain Python itself. So if I ask them questions, they may or may not be able to answer me because sometimes my question is too tricky to answer or something like that. But also try and error kind of help you a lot. When there's no resources tell you the answer, sometimes I use a dir to look at, okay, what's in this object and all this stuff. Sometimes I even, because now the C Python is in GitHub, so you can even look at the source code. For some libraries, like enums and all this stuff, they are written in Python, so I can understand. But for those written in C, it could be a little bit more difficult. So yeah, so like I think going from beginner to advanced is the most difficult kind of hurdle you have to come across because there isn't a lot of resources. So yeah,
I think so. Perseverance, that means not to give up, is very important, right?
Yes, of course. Don't give up and seek help. I think, yeah, all of us may be a bit shy because of our culture and stuff, but yeah, lots of people here, out there are happy to help. Actually, if you ask, actually, you may be surprised that they really, really want to help, and they are so happy that you ask. So yeah.
Okay, so I think, well, it's a bit. Well, this is the last talk of today. Unfortunately, yep, we have to go to the final closing. So thank you, Cheuk for sharing.